Alright, I just saw Kripparrians video on Theorycrafting in regards to measuring time for animations. And in the video, he uses a piece of software called Sony Vegas. And the problem is, if you're just wanting to do this method for measuring time, and you don't have any other use for Sony Vegas, there's no real reason for you to go out and spend money on it. Now, we all know that there are other ways of getting software than paying money, but versus going out and doing that, here is a free way to do it. And I will go over how to do this. So, the piece of software you're going to be using is Lightworks. This is a professional software, but on the flip side, it is free. Just got to go on their website, sign up, make an account, 100% free, and download the software. As I said, it's professional grade. It's been used in lots of movies. They list the movies on their website. But, that aside, we're going to be using it to achieve the same effect that Kripparrian did. So, heads up, I have already done the recording of the game. I'm doing a comparison of the first 3 attacks of a sword compared to an axe and a warrior. It's not exactly a fair test. I should have done the full animations of all the attacks, but it's basically the same principle. So, when you open up Lightworks, the first thing you'll see is this little window called the Project Browser. In it, you'll have the frame rate and the name. There's more options here, but this is all you really need. So if you wanted to go super hardcore and record your videos at 60 FPS, Lightworks supports it. You can, search for the exact amount of frame rate you're recording at. I'm only recording my games at 30 FPS, specifically Guild Wars 2, because there are some optimization issues with the AMD processors in Guild Wars 2, and I can't get higher than 30 FPS. So I'm recording my videos at 30 FPS when it comes to Guild Wars 2. Now, for a name, you can name it whatever you want. We are going to name it Theorycrafting, or rather, I am, and I'm going to hit the Create button. Now, the first thing it'll prompt you is to import footage. Obviously, where this is a video editor, we need to import footage. So I've already sorted out 2 pieces of footage. By the way, if you hear some noise in the background, sorry, my cat is messing around with things. But I've already prepared the 2 pieces of footage right here. So we're just going to hit imports. So you may have to find them, but yeah, you know where you save your footage. Just wherever you save it, find the videos there. Okay, so now you have your 2 pieces of imported footage, or if you want to do 3 or 4, you have those. Same process, but what we want to do is trim the video like Kripparrian did in his. Now, it's going to be a little bit different here, but I think it's actually a little bit better here what we're going to be doing. So, instead of going right into the timeline like Kripparrian did, we are going to be selecting our clips individually and editing them. So, there are 2 little buttons when you mouse over the video. You have the viewer button, and you have the show timeline button. Click both of those for 1 clip. I'm doing it on the top clip here, but whichever you want. It's going to open up a little video window and a little timeline. Now, this is not the editing timeline that you'll be able to overlay videos onto. This is the individual clip timeline. And what we're going to be doing is editing this timeline to be used to drop into the main timeline. It'll all make sense later, so if you need to, come back to this point after you've done everything else, and maybe things will be a little bit more clear to you. But what we're going to be doing is, well, first off, drag the timeline as wide as you can so we can get very precise here. And if you mouse over the top of the window, you can actually drag around the red bar. Do not mess around, do not move your mouse over the actual video area, the video part of the timeline. Just do it over the very top of it, and you can drag around the timeline. And what we're going to be doing is basically exactly what Kripparrian did. By the way, if you didn't realize that you can drag around these windows and move them wherever you want, you can resize them however you want. If you want to keep it in a specific spot, there's a little pen button. You can pen it here. You can't move it or do anything then. It's a very malleable interface, and I like it. So, if you don't like the video where I have it positioned, you move it wherever you want, just wherever you feel free having it. Same with the timeline. If you want the timeline to be up here, all your words, you can do it if you want. But you can't move this shark. This shark likes to stay right where it is, and it'll just keep moving back to that spot. Anyhow, we need to go to the exact time of the first bit of damage. And to get the exact time, the best way to do it is to go frame by frame by frame. And so in order to do that, the easiest way is to use the arrow keys on your keyboard. So left arrow key moves it left, right arrow key moves it right. So we are just going to go frame by frame to the very first point of time where we see a number. When I see a number right here, so what I'm going to do now is hit the I key. This is going to mark an endpoint. Now, as soon as Windows stops messing up, there we go. If you mouse over here, you can also do an endpoint here, or an out point, or you can clear all your points. So you can hit this button, or you could hit I and create an endpoint. What we want to do is go to the very end of this clip, after the 3 strikes, and right when the first number pops up is where we want it to be at, which is right here. And we're going to hit the O key for an out key, or you can hit out right here. That's it for this video clip. We're done. All we've done is marked right where it begins and right where it ends. So we're going to close this and repeat the process on our second clip. This one's with my sword. And in. And out. And we're done with this one. So you see, it's very, very quick to do this. Now, after you've got all of your clips marked, you need to go over here and click the Create a New Edit button. It looks like a timeline. It's the third button down from the top on the Tools menu. This is actually your timeline. We don't need our audio, so we're just going to hit the arrow, or twirl, if you want to call it that, and hide that, and we're going to drag the timeline up a little bit. So we're going to drag in the top video here, and that's now in our timeline. We can play it, and there's our 3 attacks. Went by very, very fast. 1, 2, 3. Towards the end. That was after. Again, we're timing this based on when the damage actually appears, not when the actual animation shows. So in this method, you really care about when the damage appears on the target, because that's when it's actually being affected. That's when you're actually inflicting the damage, is when the numbers appear. That's what matters, not necessarily the animation. So if it only looks like he's swinging twice, he's actually swinging 3 times, because the numbers appear 3 separate times in the video clip. Just throwing that out there. Anyhow, so we have our first video clip here. We want to do a comparison of the length compared to from the first and the second. So in order to get the second clip in here, all you need to do is right-click anywhere on the timeline and hit Add Tracks. And we get this little window. We want to add video, number to add. We only need to add 1, so we're going to hit Add. And now we're going to drag on the second one to the top one right there. And what this data shows us is that to do 3 attacks in Axe is about double the speed of doing 3 attacks with the sword. Now, this isn't exactly a fair test, because the sword went through a full rotation of attacks, where I actually had to cut the Axe attacks short one. So, not 100% accurate, but you get the idea of the process. It's the same, and if we were to just base on, you know, which one gets off 3 attacks faster, the Axe would clearly win here. It's double the speed, as you can see. You know, this timeline is significantly shorter than the top timeline, and these are cut specifically. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. These are cut specifically to how long they are, so it's pretty telling. Now, one thing I want to go over really fast, if I can remember how to do this, is by default, Lightworks actually prefers a 4:3 aspect ratio. So your screen right here may be a square. I should have gone over this at the beginning, but if you want to get rid of that, if you want to make this, you know, widescreen like I have, there should just be like, yeah, right up here. So if you click your project name, whatever you named it, Project Theorycrafting for me, you have a little window right here. You select video and you select format. It's by default like this. You just want to switch it over to 16:9. Very simple to do. But yeah, that's how you do this in Lightworks. You don't need to spend money. You don't need to do anything necessarily illegal to get Sony Vegas. You just need Lightworks. 100% free. You can do just what you need to in Sony Vegas. And in my opinion, it is significantly faster to accomplish and Lightworks. Lightworks, like I said, is a professional software. Sony Vegas is made for consumers. As a result, you actually have to go through more hoops to do what you want to do in that. It's actually a little bit easier to do in here. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and